You don't control what happens. You control how you react to what happens. Epictetus. Hello, friends. Today we will delve into the ancient world of Stoicism, one of the most influential schools of philosophy that emerged in ancient Greece. These wise teachings have inspired many people over the centuries and continue to remain relevant in our time. Stoic philosophers taught that the key to a virtuous life is not in prosperity, wealth, or pleasure, but in the ability to bear with content whatever life presents to us. Central to this philosophy is managing one's reaction to the surrounding environment and accepting the external world as it is. Together, we will explore the fundamental principles and practices of Stoicism, touching upon its influence and the lessons this philosophy can bring to today's society. Welcome to our journey through the world of Stoicism, which will help transform your life forever. We know that your opinion and your interaction are of great value. By clicking like, you help this information reach more people, sharing the knowledge of Stoicism with the rest of the world. You are an important part of this process of spreading ideas, and together we can help others learn more about how to apply this ancient philosophy in modern life. Thank you for your activity and support. Resilience, courage, and wisdom serve as the foundation of Stoic philosophy. Stoicism is one of the greatest schools of classical Greek philosophy. The founder of Stoicism is considered to be Zeno of Citium, who began preaching his teachings in Athens. Zeno established his philosophical school, which became known as the Stoa, or the Stoic school. His followers, such as Chrysippus, Cleanthes, and others, further developed his teachings and continued to spread Stoicism after his death. Stoics considered resilience and strength of will to be valuable qualities. They taught that one should accept everything that comes into their life as inevitable and not succumb to external circumstances. The main goal of Stoicism is to achieve a state of apathy or equanimity of the soul, where a person fully controls their emotions and strives for wisdom and virtue. The fundamental principles of Stoicism can be summarized into several key concepts. Live in accordance with nature. One should live in harmony with nature and accept all events as part of the natural order of things. Wisdom as the highest virtue. The purpose of life is to attain wisdom and a rational relationship with the world. Through wisdom, one gains tranquility and balance. Subjugation of emotions to reason. Stoics taught that emotions should be subordinated to reason. A person should control their passions and desires to achieve inner peace. Acceptance of fate. One should accept all events as inevitable and not be swayed by emotional fluctuations in response to them. For Stoic philosophy, emotions are not enemies, but they shouldn't dominate our lives either. Stoics acknowledge that emotions are natural and inevitable, but they believe that excessive attachment to them or surrendering to them can lead to unrest and suffering. Instead, Stoics advocate for a rational and balanced approach to emotions. The goal of Stoicism is not to suppress emotions, but to learn to manage them. They argue that we can choose how to react to our emotions, and that this is a choice we must make consciously and wisely. Thus, Stoicism offers methods of training the mind and self-control to prevent emotions from ruling over us. It's also important to recognize that our emotions can result from our thoughts and judgments rather than the events themselves. Therefore, Stoics advocate for thoughtful analysis of situations and a rational approach to our reactions to them. This helps avoid excessive worry or suffering due to an exaggerated reaction to external circumstances. Acceptance of fate and inevitable events is also an important aspect of Stoic philosophy. Stoics advocate for accepting that some things in life are beyond our control and that attempting to change the unchangeable can only lead to suffering. Instead, they urge acceptance of fate and finding tranquility in any circumstances. Applying Stoic principles in everyday life requires mindfulness and the ability to control our reactions to events and emotions. Instead of giving into emotions and suffering, Stoics advocate for a rational and balanced approach to life. This means learning to accept external circumstances as they are and responding to them without excessive emotional reaction. One key aspect of Stoicism is accepting fate and acknowledging that some things are beyond our control. Rather than struggling against the inevitable or suffering because of it, Stoics encourage acceptance of fate and seeking inner tranquility. Practical application of Stoicism involves being aware of our emotions and reactions to them, objectively assessing situations, managing our responses to stressful and troubling events, and seeking inner peace and wisdom in all circumstances. For example, instead of reacting emotionally to criticism or an unpleasant situation, Stoics may offer themselves perspective and consider the situation from a more objective viewpoint. They may realize that some things are beyond their control and focus on what they can change, their attitude towards the situation and their actions. Thus, applying Stoic principles in everyday life can help us achieve a more balanced and wise way of living, where we are able to effectively manage our emotions and respond to challenges with wisdom and tranquility. Stoicism and other schools of philosophy, such as Epicureanism and Neoplatonism, have their own characteristics, but they also share some commonalities and differences. One key similarity between Stoicism and Epicureanism is their common goal, the pursuit of well-being and happiness for the individual. Both schools of philosophy assert that humans should strive for inner peace and joy. However, they offer different paths to achieve this goal. In Stoicism, the key principle is acceptance of fate and external circumstances, as well as management of one's emotions and reactions to them. Stoics advocate for a rational approach to life and focus on internal wisdom and virtue. On the other hand, Epicureans focus on pleasure and satisfaction. They believe that the highest good is pleasure and the avoidance of pain. They advocate for moderation and enjoying life, maximizing pleasant sensations and minimizing painful ones. As for Neoplatonism, unlike Stoicism, which is focused on the practical application of philosophy in everyday life, Neoplatonism is more theoretical and metaphysical. It strives for unity with the higher reality or the divine, as well as liberation from material attachments. Thus, while Stoicism, Epicureanism, and Neoplatonism share common goals in the pursuit of well-being and happiness, they offer different approaches to achieving these goals, based on different principles and beliefs. One of the main criticisms of Stoicism is its perceived emotional detachment. Some argue that the pursuit of Stoicism and emotional control may lead to emotional numbness and detachment from one's own feelings. Critics claim that human emotions are necessary for a fulfilling life, and that suppressing emotions can lead to emotional dullness and alienation from the surrounding world. Another critical point of view on Stoicism is its teaching of accepting fate and inevitability. Some believe that Stoics overly emphasize that some things are beyond human control and argue that this may lead to passivity and indifference to changes and improvements in life. They argue that accepting fate may weaken motivation for action and lead to a static and conservative lifestyle. Additionally, critics of Stoicism point out its individualistic aspects and lack of emphasis on social justice and solidarity. They argue that Stoicism focuses too much on personal well-being and wisdom, ignoring the importance of social and moral aspects of life. Some also criticize Stoicism for its denial of passions and sensual pleasure, considering it too rigid and unrealistic. However, Stoics, in turn, may argue that their philosophy actually aims to achieve inner tranquility and wisdom, which are the foundation for a more harmonious and effective life. They may also argue that accepting fate does not mean inaction but rather implies adaptation and action according to circumstances. The principles of Stoicism represent a powerful philosophical framework capable of changing our attitude towards life and making our lives more meaningful and satisfying. At the core of Stoicism lies the idea that we only have control over what is within our power, while everything else, including external circumstances and the actions of others, is beyond our control. This fundamental principle of Stoicism, known as the principle of distinguishing between what is within our power and what is beyond our power, helps us focus on what we can change and accept the rest as it is. Another important aspect of Stoicism is the management of our emotions and reactions. Stoics teach us to see our emotions as a result of our thoughts and beliefs, and through this awareness, we can learn to better control them, avoiding impulsive reactions and making wise decisions. They call on us to accept circumstances as they are and find tranquility and wisdom within ourselves, even in the most challenging situations. One of the key aspects of Stoicism is also the idea of seeking inner wisdom and virtue. We learn to strive for the best version of ourselves, developing qualities such as justice, prudence, and courage. The principles of Stoicism help us develop these ethical qualities and make wise and moral decisions in various situations, contributing to our personal growth and development. Stoics call on us to live in accordance with nature and fulfill our role in society, which means accepting our duties and responsibilities to ourselves and others. They argue that by following these principles, we can achieve a more harmonious and satisfying life, overcoming obstacles and trials with wisdom and serenity. In conclusion, in the video about Stoicism, we can summarize how the principles of this philosophy can transform our lives. Stoicism teaches us to accept the inevitable aspects of life, manage our emotions and reactions, strive for inner wisdom, and develop ethical qualities. It enables us to find tranquility and meaning in any situation, helping us become wiser, stronger, and more just individuals. I want to wish everyone who watched this video to find inspiration and strength in the principles of Stoicism, to apply them in their daily lives, and to achieve harmony and well-being. May we all strive for inner growth and development, remembering the value of wisdom and virtue. Thank you for your attention, and may your path be illuminated by the light of wisdom and tranquility.